It's the next day. I met some new friends online. Me and them killed some people, raided some people, and then a couple of hours later they went offline, so I went offline, head to bed, and wake up in the morning, like today. I might play Roblox. Soon. But first, let's find the video and smoke some weed.
Object Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-16 is to remain within the confines of a 5x5x5 meter room at all times, maintained at a temperature not to exceed 0 degrees Celsius. SCP-16 itself is to remain in the Petri dish in the containment cube at all times, unless directed otherwise by Level 4 or O5 personnel. Full documentation of experimentation with SCP-16 must be submitted before and after samples and duplicates of SCP-16 may be taken. Failure to follow these procedures will result in termination or reassignment as Class D personnel. Only authorized personnel may be permitted to obtain samples of and experiment with SCP-16 under BCL-5 containment conditions. If an outbreak does occur, despite following the aforementioned procedures, Directive-based personnel are to implement a Code Sigma lockdown and containment plan. Infected personnel are to be terminated on site by security forces wearing Standard Mission-Oriented Protective Posture, or MOPP, anti-biological and anti-chemical equipment. Should the infection not be contained after 48 hours, the on-site nuclear device is to be detonated. Remaining personnel are not to be evacuated under any circumstances. SCP-16 has been shown to survive for up to 6 hours on hard surfaces, and up to several minutes in air. High-intensity ultraviolet light and high concentrations of orthophthaldehyde solution have been demonstrated to be effective in disinfecting non-organic surfaces. Description: SCP-16 is a blood-borne pathogen recovered from a mine worker who injured himself while working in a deep coal seam. Said wound became contaminated with coal dust from the mine, possibly infecting the worker with dormant spores. Over the next several days, SCP-16 proceeded to infect the remaining employees at the mining camp, as well as the CDC crisis team dispatched to deal with the epidemic. Foundation personnel then took over the investigation and terminated all affected personnel. Patient Zero was brought into captivity, and the mine shaft was collapsed by an explosive device. SCP-16 has an incubation period ranging from 24 hours to 2 years. Prepare yourself. Big monsters need a big screen.
At you.
Depending on the presence and number of other human hosts in the area, first symptoms resemble the common cold and include itchy eyes, runny nose, coughing, and bodily aches. Phase 2 begins in 48 hours and consists of a controlled form of hemorrhagic fever, as the organism causes a small amount of blood to become aspirated in the lungs, creating an aerosol effect. During Phase 3, the host crashes and bleeds out, bleeding profusely from every bodily orifice, including the nose, tear ducts, anus, skin pores, mouth, urethra, and in case of females, vagina. Blood pressure skyrockets during the final stage. Hosts have been observed projectile vomiting blood to distances of over 5 meters. Should the host survive this near-total exsanguination, the pathogen will become dormant once more, returning to incubation phase. What distinguishes SCP-16 from other strains of hemorrhagic fever, such as Ebola and Marburg, is its unusual response to high stress. Should the subject undergo a high-stress situation, such as a life-threatening crisis, the organism will change its survival tactic from rapid reproduction to the rewriting of the host's DNA and stimulation of rapid cell division. Major physiological changes occur within the first 24 hours, with complete bodily reconstruction occurring within 2 weeks' time. Most hosts do not survive the process due to the heavy demands made on the body. Due to their similarities as fatal contagions that stimulate the production of excess organs, a possible link to SCP-1801 is under investigation. An interesting side effect of the transformation is an increased aggressive urge. It is believed that this may be an attempt to maximize the spread of the virus in a manner similar to rabies. On another note, subjects who undergo bodily transformation no longer appear to exhibit SCP-16's hemorrhagic properties. However, subjects infected by transformed hosts will still undergo the normal SCP-16 infection process. Addendum: Experiment log of SCP-16's transformative properties. Subject D-16-1. D-Class personnel infected by SCP-16. Upon first showing symptoms, subject's quarters were slowly flooded with water over a 24-hour period. SCP-16 mutated into a teratomorphic state, transforming subject's lungs into gills. Subject survived for 2 more weeks as SCP-16 transformed its limbs into fins, caused its eyes to atrophy, and enhanced its sense of hearing into a cetacean-type echolocation ability. Subject was terminated by draining all water from its quarters, causing it to asphyxiate. Body was subsequently cremated without autopsy. Subject D-16-2. D-Class personnel infected by SCP-16. Upon first showing symptoms, subject's quarters were slowly flooded with water over a 24-hour period. SCP-16 mutated into a teratomorphic state, causing subject to undergo rapid muscular growth and increased bone growth on knuckles.
Slurpee plus Guarana, out for a limited time and only at 7-Eleven.
Subject then attempted to escape from confinement by punching through the reinforced steel door. Subject was not successful and died by drowning. Note: same situation, 2 different responses.
Think about it.
Interesting. Dr.
If SCP Foundation
Subject D-16-3.
wasn't
D-Class personnel infected by
was
SCP-16.
still in hiding, like being
Subject was
secret,
previously a chemical
there wouldn't be
engineer who
any
poisoned his
videos
wife
about
upon
it.
discovering her adultery. Upon first showing symptoms, subject's quarters were slowly flooded with water over a 24-hour period.
Anyone can visit
SCP-16
here at the
mutated
SCP
into a teratomorphic
Foundation.
state, causing subject to grow an unusual organ on his chest, consisting of a
Or
chamber
good
and 2 separate
SCPs
tubes.
can go out and help
Continue
people.
to take in water and swell
But
in size
me,
until Foundation
my
personnel,
kind of
realizing what
SCPs, nah.
SCP-16 may be attempting, terminated the subject by gunshot. Organ was found to contain several gas sacs filled with acetylene gas and oxygen. Subject D-16-4. D-Class personnel infected by SCP-16. Subject was told to concentrate on forming wings. No stress was applied. SCP-16 did not mutate into teratomorphic state. Subject died of exsanguination during Phase 3. Subject D-16-5. D-Class personnel infected by SCP-16. Subject was told to concentrate on forming wings and placed in an acrylic box suspended 305 meters or 1,000 feet above a mine shaft. A timer was placed outside the box, which subject was told indicated the time to release. SCP-16 mutated into teratomorphic state, causing subject to grow a tentacle-like organ on his left wrist similar to a spider's spinnerets. Subject extended said organ through one of the box's air holes and extruded a strong, silk-like substance, which he then used to secure the box to the cable. Subject was terminated when the countdown reached 0, and the bomb detonated.
SCP-3939. What else? And 066. The old guy. And then Peanut. Bigfoot. So the Bigfoot SCP within here. Okay. Let's head in here.
Item number SCP-15. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-15 is impossible to move and is contained on site. A gap of at least 2 meters, or 6 feet, needs to be maintained around the entire structure containing SCP-15 at all times, and no structures of any kind are to make contact with SCP-15's current containment structure. Exploration is permissible, but only in teams of 3 with full safety lines and GPS tracking. Any protrusions from SCP-15 must be capped and sealed immediately, with the new site recorded and logged. No aggressive action is to be made within SCP-15. No hand or power tools are allowed anywhere inside SCP-15. No repairs or maintenance are to be made anywhere on SCP-15. Description: SCP-15 is a mass of pipes, vents, boilers, and other various plumbing apparatus, completely filling a warehouse in... The pipes appear to grow when not under observation, attempting to connect to nearby structures via sewer systems and underground plumbing. SCP-15 contains, at current estimate, over 190 kilometers, or 120 miles, of pipes, ranging in diameter from 2.5 centimeters to over 1 meter. Some pipes appear new, while others are rusted and leaking. Pipes have been reported as being made of bone, wood, steel, pressed ash, human flesh, glass, and granite. No pipes composed of lead, PVC plastic, copper, or any other traditional material for the production of pipes have been found.
Let's play Roblox. Should I play Roblox or go back onto Minecraft on survival server? Or play a whole map, basically. What should I do? Crap. What should I do? Let's try Roblox first. I want to see if there's any new games out that I would like. Turn it on, and then Roblox. Connect. Press play. Press play. Ready? Here we go.
SCP-15 reacts to tools.
I guess let's play this whole game in Roblox. Hmm. Four. If they don't leave. 4. That's 3. Here we go. Wish I could skip this bit. Well, they were. Guess I'm gonna move too. Okay, so turn off, disconnect. It's 6 p.m. So let's head to bed, I guess. It's 9 a.m. Let's put this in here. Let's smoke some weed and watch YouTube, I guess.
SCP-13. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-13 are to be kept in a secure storage vault at Site-66. Exposed subjects are to be monitored for differences between their symptoms. Exposed subjects are to be interviewed daily, and any changes in perception are to be logged. Description: SCP-13 is the collective designation of 242 cigarettes, which display similar anomalies. The most common external detail between instances is the presence of the words Blue Lady, handwritten on each cigarette in blue ink. Subjects who consume the contents of SCP-13 through inhalation will begin to perceive themselves as a specific unidentified woman. Subjects have described the woman to be aged between 25 and 35 years old, standing approximately 1.6 meters tall, with an estimated weight of between 50 and 55 kilograms. Additional recurring details include cropped dark hair, blue eyes, and bright blue lipstick. Immediately after consuming an instance of SCP-13, subjects will gradually begin to perceive reflections of themselves as having the features of the woman, and will gradually perceive their bodies changing to reflect her appearance over the course of the following weeks. All changes are entirely mental. The subject's body does not change outwardly, only their perception of themselves. These alterations are permanent and cannot be reversed. SCP-13 was discovered after the suicide of an Ian Miles, packed in a large cardboard crate in his apartment. A cursory search of the apartment uncovered several hundred sketches of a figure strongly resembling the one perceived while under 13's effect. Miles's body had been found sitting at a desk, dead of a massive overdose, and draped over a handwritten note. During the investigation of Miles's apartment, one civilian investigator became affected by 13's effect. An embedded agent soon contacted the nearest site. The subject, the artifact, and related evidence were extracted and contained. Currently, 217 instances of SCP-13 cigarettes are contained at Biosite-66. 25 SCP-13 cigarettes are contained at Research Sector 9, pending future research into similar anomalous effects. Addendum. Below is the note which was acquired along with SCP-13. I see her everywhere. That sad blue lady. I feel like I used to. Should. Do know her, but I can't remember. I love her, but I don't know why. She's so beautiful and sweet and clear, but I don't know anymore. Her favorite flavor. Where did you go? I miss you. Lesson complete. If you missed the previous orientation, go watch SCP-12.
Fuck off, Edge.
Item number, SCP-11. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures. Item SCP-11 and the area surrounding it are to be cleaned once every day. For safety purposes, cleaning should start at least 30 minutes after sundown. Cleaning should always be performed by at least 2 personnel, who are also advised to note anything unusual about the item or the debris cleaned up. In a situation where the item cannot be cleaned for more than 2 days, local residents must be contacted and instructed not to approach the item. Note: Containment Procedures Nullified, 2004. Description: SCP-11 is a Civil War memorial statue located in Woodstock, Vermont. The statue is the image of a young male soldier holding a musket at his side and is carved out of granite quarried within the area. Occasionally, SCP-11 has been observed lifting its musket to the sky to fire at birds which attempt to land or defecate on it. Reports detail that its movements produce soft grinding sounds but do not cause it any structural failure. Oddly, the gunfire is very similar to that of a standard firearm, despite observations that the item only loads granite bullets and granite powder into the musket, which is also unharmed by the firing. In spite of its efforts, some fecal matter does manage to strike SCP-11, and it has reportedly become distressed when it has had a large amount of feces on it, on some rare occasions even firing at humans. Addendum. Those assigned to maintain SCP-11 are to see document number 11-1 for instructions. Document number 11-1. Maintenance brief. Note: document archived 2004. Accessible to personnel with security clearance 2011 or higher. Additional information. SCP-11's seeming sentience has increased since the first report of activity in 1995. As of 2004, the item's containment procedures have been dropped, but it remains under constant observation. Recorded below are landmark events in its activity. Timeline: March 12, 1995. Woodstock resident reports the statue's eyes moving. First sign of activity. September 30th, 1995. Statue shoots musket for the first time. October 9th, 1995. Statue begins shooting birds from the sky. January 25th, 1996. Registration is SCP-11. Containment procedures begin. April 14th, 1997. SCP-11 observed moving casually and looking around. May 3rd, 2000. After caretaker jokingly shouts, "Good shot," to SCP-11, the item replies, "Thank you," in a reportedly very human voice. First speech from statue. October 22nd, 2001. SCP-11 has conversation with caretaker. 2001. Shooting of birds stops. February 6th, 2002. At the imploring of SCP-11 steps down from its pedestal. 2003 to 2004. SCP-11 reaches a human level of self-awareness. November 10th, 2004. Containment procedures dropped. Custody of SCP-11 transferred to May 17th, 2005. Reports that SCP-11 is romantically attracted to her. August 29th, 2006. Most recent psych test reports an IQ of 133. Lesson complete. If you missed the previous orientation, go watch SCP-10, Collars of Control, right now. Or
This is definitely more engaging.
Experience a better way to study online at Swinburne Online.
item number SCP-10. Object class safe.
I will
Special
miss
containment
this
procedures.
world
The objects
when I
comprising
destroy this
SCP-10 are
world
to be
with my father, the sun, with the Scarlet King. I'll miss this fucking world. Then I'll move on to the next world with my dad and start all over again. I'll miss this phone, I'll miss weed. When I free my dad from his prison. For now, I just have to wait until the time is right.
kept in numbered locked boxes in a high-security facility. They are not to be worn except by test subjects. SCP-10 are only to be removed from storage for testing. Description: SCP-10 consists of a series of 6 apparently identical cast-iron collars with numbered metal tags and 1 remote control. The control is SCP-10-1. The collars are SCP-10-2 through 10-7. The collars contain intricate electronic components and are powered by small, 5mm in diameter, 2mm thick 100-volt batteries. These batteries are rechargeable. The remote is a heavy black box, resembling an old-style handheld radio transmitter receiver, with a primitive blue and white cathode ray screen, and a series of more than 100 unlabeled buttons, as well as a frequency tuner. Through trial and error, the frequencies of all 6 currently found collars have been discovered. A label in Russian is stamped into the metal, along with a logo consisting of workers building a pyramid. No official Russian corporation or government agency uses this logo, or matches the words stamped into the metal. Placing the collar around the neck of a person and securing it allows one to control their every movement with the remote. It is also capable of producing an adrenal response and activating or deactivating the sympathetic nervous system. The most abnormal feature of the collars is the effect they have on the body morphology. They allow the user of the remote to reconfigure the shape of the victim to an extent that is apparently only limited by the knowledge of the programming language of the remote. Addendum 10-1. History. SCP-10 was discovered in the basement of a lone man in the Midwestern United States after a local disappearance was connected to him. When the police raided the man's house, they found SCP-10, as well as several dead bodies. One of the bodies was identified to be the man. The others were several other missing persons. Cause of death seemed to be mass suicide. However, there were signs of significant struggle first. Addendum 10-2. Disassemble experiment. Test 1. SCP-10-2 taken apart piecewise. The parts labeled and several photographs taken, then reassembled. Result. After reassembly, SCP-10-2 continues to function. Test 2. SCP-10-8 constructed identically to SCP-10-2, but with the closest approximations available to the unreplicable components. Result. SCP-10-8 fails to function. Test 3. Unreplicable factory workers were forced to work 16-hour days, work only shutting down on Sundays between sunrise and sunset. Workers were not given individual rooms, instead sharing rooms with 8 other people, sleeping in
They
shifts
covered
of
another
3.
joint, I guess.
Medical attention was unheard of. If you were injured in the course of your duties, which most people were, you were expected to just keep working. Anyone too injured to work was dragged off by the security, never to be heard from again. For 40 years, the Anderson factory cranked out all sorts of things for people. Meat, clothes, weapons. Never mind that the beef might be mixed with human. Don't care that the weapons were forged in blood. No attention need be paid that the clothes were dyed with, well, you get the idea. Rumors leaked out, but the products were so good, why bother? Until someone got out. I never met the brave soul who managed to escape, but she managed to meet with President Grant, and in 1875, he enlisted my aid. At the time I was, well, it doesn't matter. We'll say I was military, kind of, and that my people were the same. 150 good men and some few women, who were often given jobs that weren't supposed to be common knowledge. We'd been cleaning out some Confederate holdouts, and some of the worst things we found down south. So, we did some research, didn't like what we saw, and went in, loaded for bear. I don't actually remember much about the night it all went down. Most of it blends together in my head. I get flashes sometimes of the people chained to the line, living next to dead. Damned hard to tell which was which. Children working underneath machines. The majority of the flesh scoured from their bones by the great wheels and cogs. And the other things. No, I'm alright. I haven't thought about that night for a very long time. The security force wasn't much of a problem. But then, Anderson's creations showed up. He'd been taking the injured workers and, well, experimenting on them. Men, if you could call them men, with multiple arms, sewn together, some of them combined with animals. Horrible monstrosities out of mankind's worst nightmares. They kept coming, wave after wave of not quite living creatures. I lost a lot of good people that night. And then, we found Anderson's breeding pits. Girls as young as 8 chained to the walls, forced to be nothing more than... I'm sorry. Even today, more than a century later, the memory makes me see red. When we finally found Anderson cowering in his office, we hung him from his tower window with his own entrails. As he died, he laughed, saying it didn't matter. We could kill him, but his factory, the factory, would go on. He was still laughing 24 hours later, when we finally cut him down, had him drawn and quartered, and then burned the remains. The entire time he uttered blasphemies that I don't like to think about. We spent a week cleaning that place out.
When we got on the high pages app, job leads were coming out of woodwork. Really? It really helped me pave the way to growing my business.
Fuck off, Ed.
Freeing the workers, putting down the things we found in the basements and many lightless rooms. We pulled out things that were useful, stocked them in a house near the gate, tried to make sense of everything. 150 of us went into that hell pit that night. And oh yo, that would flay the skin from anyone it touched. Hammers that only worked on human flesh. A breed of skeletal horse that ran faster than anything we'd ever seen. Cloaks that seemed woven from the night itself and let man access a shadowy dimension that... I get away from myself. We found tools, both wondrous and horrible, and we were faced with a choice. I gathered my highest ranking, well, we'll call them officers, to me, and we tried to figure out what we would do. They all had opinions. The chaplain, he had gone a little crazed, thought all these objects must be miracles sent from God, holy relics to be worshipped. Marshall and his little toady Dawkins thought there was a fortune to be made here, making and selling these things to the highest bidder. The engine we all called Base, due to his deep speaking voice, he called these things an abomination, and declared that we should hunt down and destroy everything we could find. And Smith thought we should take this stuff back to the president. The only one without an opinion was the old man, but he never said much of anything anyways. We argued for hours, days trying to work it out. Me, I thought we were sitting on a gold mine all right, but that we could use these things, these objects, to hunt down some of the scary things we'd run into down south, the other monsters this world had to offer, and use this factory for good, as a place to contain these things, find a way to make them work for our fellow man, or at least protect our fellow man from having to deal with them. I'm sure you can figure out what happened. The chaplain snuck away in the night with his devotees, taking a couple of small items with him. Marshall we kicked out when we found him, abusing his authority. He promised he'd get revenge, and that little Dawkins shit led the rest of their group off with some of the juicier items. Base and his people tried to light the whole damn thing on fire, then just left when it didn't work. And Smith left to report back to the president. I did manage to get him to promise me he'd tell Grant the factory had been destroyed. I had big plans for that place. Of course, it was kinda hard to follow through on big plans when you only have 12 other people to work with. But it was a start, and it worked. For a while.
Hey, it's Mitch and Abby.
Shit.
We're here with Tinder. So Mitch and I was talking about how tragic our dating lives were in 2020.
Fuck off, Ed.
2020 has been.
We had these amazing toys, and finding people to work with us was easy. Back then, going off the grid was as simple as leaving town. We knew what we wanted. We knew what we could be. Leventhal set out getting us backing. A simple invention here, some well-invested money there. It all worked out. White and Jones set out getting us other backing. In our previous work, we'd found out some interesting things about people. Some secrets that powerful men didn't want getting out. And with our new position helping keep secrets, we got more people asking us to deal with their secrets. Blackmail is a dirty word, but it works. Bright, Argent, and Lumineux got to work cataloging the items. Light and Bright's wife, the nurse, they made sure we kept ourselves healthy. No, it's just remembering Light. She had such unusual ideas about hygiene for the time. Brilliant woman. Jav, Flesher, and Karnov dealt with training the troops. Tesla and Tamlin were in charge of figuring out how to take advantage of the items without making it obvious. We were amazing. The city we built around the factory, which we took to calling Site Alpha, was self-supporting. Agents, researchers, operatives of all sorts. Not by those names, of course, but those positions. We expanded. I'm sorry, I am an old man. I know I do not look it, but the body lies. The mind doesn't always remember right, and sometimes I get lost in my memories. Things get confused, but the long and simple of it is this. We use